Hello and welcome to Moment of Truth on Labour Social. I'm Graham Hughes. Today I just wanted to say a few words about cults of personality. Why do we do this? Why do we put these people in public life on pedestals? Why do we get down on our knees and worship these total strangers as gods? What the hell is wrong with us? Why would we do that? Squishy humans who have no magical powers and yet a good 40% of any given population believe they should be given a special status. We should give them the benefit of the doubt. We should give them power to be above the law, beyond recrimination, beyond even the mildest of criticisms. It's not always a politician. I remember people losing their shit over Pete Doherty back in the day, even though he's a man of limited talent who just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Russell Brand, aka Jack Sparrow with a thesaurus in lieu of charisma, who got his big break on Big Brother's Little Brother and then went on national radio to brag about having sex with someone to their grandfather, an act that caused a rift in that particular family that didn't heal, and now the grandfather's dead. It will never heal. Nice guy. Also, a guy who said to his young fans, the very people that we needed to get out and vote, don't vote for anyone in 2015 because they're all the same. Only to change his tune a couple of weeks before the actual election to say vote Labour. Once the period when you could actually register your vote to vote was over. Nice one, dickhead. Then there's the likes of Charles Manson, David Koresh, and Jim Jones, people who were so adored by their unthinking flocks that they committed murder and or suicide because their God told them to. But no video about rabid, obsessive fan bases would be complete without mentioning the former leader of the Labour Party. To this day, there are people who are obsessed with what's his name and maintain that he was the greatest person to have ever lived or could have ever lived in all conceivable universes. And any criticism of this man, no matter how mild, must be responded to with a level of viciousness that puts the Spanish Inquisition to shame. Which brings me to Donald Trump, who was arrested again yesterday, had his mug shot and his fingers printed, a man whose popularity has not moved in either direction since the day he left office in disgrace in January 2021. Look at the stats. 39% think he's amazing. 56% think he's a nightmare. That was the case at the end of his presidency, and that's still the exact same stat today, 2.5 years later. When Donald Trump said that he could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and wouldn't lose a vote, he wasn't wrong. Millions of Americans who, I assume, have little in the way of self-respect, get down on their knees and collectively lick the cobbles beneath this vile man's feet. This man has been found guilty of sexual assault. This man who has abused numerous women, bragged about grabbing women, in his words, by the pussy. This man who cheated on his many wives with many, many mistresses, at least one of whom was a porn star. This man who claimed he could have nailed the mother of our future king. This man who mocked a Gold Star family. The man who mocked a journalist with a disability to the delight of his braying crowd. This man who mounted an insurrection against the government of the United States of America that led to the deaths of 5 people and injuries to over 130 police officers. This man who hero worships Vladimir Putin. This man who stole classified documents and hid them in his bathroom when the FBI came to get them back. This man who called up the governor of Georgia and asked for 11,780 more votes, which is one more vote than he had. This man whose entire life has been riddled with corruption, bankruptcy, not paying people on time or not paying people at all. And yet, there are many out there who worship him as a god. There are people who believe this spoiled little trust fund brat, this man baby who was given $1 million off his dad on his 18th birthday, something he called a small loan, somehow has their best interests at heart. He's a blue-collar billionaire, apparently. He's not a billionaire. He's certainly not blue-collar. He's never done an honest day's work in his life. He's the kind of person who would struggle to change a light bulb, never mind fix a car. If he was left-wing, he'd be characterized by the very people who support him as out of touch and possibly effeminate. He never made a fortune. He just inherited his dad's. His various companies have declared bankruptcy at least 6 times. He's a terrible human being, but he's also a terrible businessman. Don't take my word for it. That's the word of Tony Schwartz, the guy who actually wrote Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, mostly because Trump is also illiterate and has the vocabulary of a particularly unimpressive 8-year-old. The only thing he's good at is getting people to fawn over him. He makes his money these days by squeezing the already struggling lower middle classes of America of any pennies they can find down the back of the sofa, while their children's dreams of going to college turn to dust, begging them for cash to fund his legal defense against his many, many crimes. He's a golden calf for a nation that has lost its way, lost any sense of dignity, a false idol. I think Biden and Starmer are better than the alternative, but they could be replaced by someone similar tomorrow and I wouldn't shed a tear. There'd be no gnashing of teeth or rending of hair. Genuinely wouldn't give a toss. They're just people. And I'd just like to say to anyone watching this who worships Trump and is also a Christian, how on earth do they genuinely think their God is going to forgive them for losing all sense of morality, all sense of common decency over a man who more than any living human best exemplifies the Antichrist of the Bible? Trump is no savior. He's no Messiah. He's no martyr. He's the devil in ridiculous orange face paint.